Hey everyone, welcome back to another off the cuff chat with me, FPL Mez, and today I have a very special guest, Gollum, who is FPL Wrangler from the FPL, I was going to say Australian community, but actually from the USA community. And what a wonderful opportunity to get you on finally onto my off the cuff show. So welcome, Gollum. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me on. I mean, as I said to you before as well, it's a pleasure to be here. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to it for the next 1.5 hour or whatever it is. So it's
Yeah.
gonna be fun. Thank you.
Yeah, no, definitely. And for context, I've been chatting to Gollum and, Wrangler for the last couple of seasons. I think we've been sort of having a lot of back and forth. And I think last season, especially, we were like rank buddies for a very long time. Like you had a strong finish to the season. I had a strong finish to the season. And I remember sort of every time we were posting up our messages of, this is how our game week has gone, we were often sort of like, oh, you're a little bit ahead. I'm a little bit ahead. And, so it was always nice to kind of tag team around what sort of transfers you were making, what you were thinking about, upcoming game weeks as well. But also, it's so hard to try and find the right time zone, managing that and working out the perfect time for us over here in Australia, because it's morning over here, so it's just gone 8 a.m. But for you, it's just gone 6 p.m. on Thursday, right?
That's correct. Yeah, it's 6 p.m. Eastern time here.
Yeah, yeah. So there was a lot of planning that needed to go into that, and so Gollum, thank you so much for like leaving work on time, and making it on the show. And as I've mentioned to you and those that are in the chat as well, these are very very off the cuff conversations. Hardly any planning has gone into it. I think Gollum can vouch for. Like literally told him like 5 minutes before. 5 minutes before we went live what we were going to talk about and how we were going to go about the show. And so and I think like that's what I enjoy about it the most, that it is very off the cuff and very impromptu, and we'll just have a laugh and have a casual conversation about FPL. And this week especially we're going to be talking about bench boost, because you and I are both on bench boost as well. So today what we're going to try and do is talk about a game week 36, how it all went, talk about some of the planning that we're doing as well, transfers that we're thinking about as we sort of look at game week 37 and our bench boost, and we'll share our bus teams, and there's some Q&A as well. So feel free to drop questions into the chat along the way. We'll try and sort of cover some of them as we're chatting, especially if it's sort of contextual to what we're talking about. But otherwise, I've got a bunch of questions that came through on X as well, so we'll cover those. Probably towards the end over there. Hey Getty, lovely to see you again. Thanks for being in the chat. Dan, so lovely to have you. Can't wait to get you back on the show as well. And Katya, great to see you again. And Tien, good morning. Yeah, it's definitely coffee time. I am rocking my official FPL mug and my oat flat white that I'm having in here this morning to help me, wake up and get into the groove of talking about double game week 37. But before we go there, Gollum, tell us a bit more about yourself. Like how long have you been? Tell us the backstory of this picture, especially. But tell us about who you are, what you do, and how's it all going for you this season as well?
So let me start with like how long I've been playing FPL. So officially it's around 14 to 15 years, I think. I started 2009, and that's when actually I came to US. So I had a lot of time. I didn't have my wife at that time. I mean, we were married, but she was back in my home country, so I came to US for higher studies.
Yeah.
And after the classes, I didn't have anything to do, to be honest. I mean, there are a lot of times, I had to spend. And that's when like I came to know about this FPL. Like my friends were saying, because I used to play football. I used to follow EPL a lot at that time, or and in general football. So my friend just told me, like, do you wanna play this? I said, yeah, why not? And at that moment, I used to take like all the like teams players that I like Manchester United or others. I used to avoid like Man City players or Liverpool players because I just didn't like those teams, to score. So that's how it started. But I would say like you can say like seriously of taking like FPL. That's probably 3 to 4 years ago, and
Yeah.
people always say that, you know what, yeah, his rank was very bad before that, and that's why he says that he
I'll
didn't
get
take it
your.
seriously. But I really didn't take it seriously. I didn't know, to be honest, like,
Yeah.
how to play this, like really how to play. I'll just share some of these stories, with you, that how I used to play whenever I was
Yeah,
a
I've
casual.
just brought your rank, like your, previous seasons up on the screen as well. So, yeah, you've had some really good finishes as well, like even earlier on as well. So I think you had like a almost a what 58K finish in
Those are probably
2011,
fluke. I didn't know
2012.
how to. Yeah. Again, those are fluke, I guess. I didn't know what I was doing, to be honest. So,
Yeah, that's awesome
but
though.
yeah, I mean, again, the way I used to play, just I will give you like one or two examples. One is playing wildcard in second game week. You know, so I didn't know how to play. So one example was Arsenal was playing versus, I think, Blackpool. Blackpool just got promoted in that season, and I didn't have any Blackpool players. And Arsenal lost at their home versus, I mean, against Blackpool, I think, in the first game. And I feel like, oh, you know what? I don't have any Blackpool players. Okay, let's find out who scored in that game. And in the next game, I played wildcard and tripled up with Blackpool. And in that game, like, I found out, you know what? Out of these three, one or two are benched.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't even know, all of these things. Another was like, I used to do transfer just after the deadline is gone. Like, that after the deadline is gone, and then,
Oh
your
no.
FPL just got like, yeah, website just became again like, you can change your team. And I was like, you know what? I need Harry Kane for the next game, so let's get Harry Kane. And I got Harry Kane, and Spurs game was actually on Sunday. I even didn't bother about it, and Harry Kane got injured and out for 9 or 10 games.
Oh
So
my
that's how
gosh.
I used to play. So I didn't know anything. And also, like, I used to
Sounds like my
tell
first
I
season a little bit.
yeah, so I mean, I think you did very well in the first season, but at least you had
Oh,
planning. I remember at least in the burning queue, you were like featured, and that's when actually I came to know
oh
about you, to
yeah,
be
that's
honest.
right.
And at least you did all of this planning. I didn't know about all of this, and I came to know about this whenever I got exposure to Twitter, FPL community, those stuff. But yeah, I mean, I used to take minus 8 just to chase prices, and in the following game week I used to play wildcard. So that's how it was like.
Yeah, I that sounds a little bit like my first season, definitely. Some of the things, like honestly, I'm getting like PTSD from that first season. I played my triple captaincy in game week 2. I didn't know about double game weeks, and I didn't know about just there was so much I didn't know. So similar to you, and I'm pretty sure I made transfers after the deadline as well. Like just missed the whole concept of how that works. So yeah, I completely get it. But your last like 4 seasons, 5 seasons or so, actually 4 seasons, including this one, like you're doing really well this season as well. But looking at 2020, 2021, where you had a strong finish of like 17,000 K, and then you had 12,000 K. Like after that, you've had a 3.8 K, which is fantastic. So, yeah, like really strong sort of last couple of seasons. What changed during that time for you?
I just came to know how to play it. You know. So out of these three stories or two stories I just mentioned, right, the planning part. So I mean, whenever I came to know about this, live FPL or like teams planner, um, me and Kante, we used to do that like in the Excel, like whenever we really became serious, and then we came to know about this planning. And it's not, I mean, again, each transfer is a -4 or is a 4 point equivalent. That concept was not in my head at that moment whenever I was casual.
Yeah.
So those things came to my mind, and I have to also, I mean, I just came to know that, okay, it's not just you just hop on hop off. You cannot do that every time. You can
No.
do it for one or two players, but
Sure.
the core structure, you need to make sure that I mean, you have to think medium to long term. So that's one thing. Second thing, definitely, I mean, I appreciate all the content creators. I listened to all the like podcasters. I like started reading all these threads whenever I came to FPL community Twitter, or X. So that's how actually I learned and I came to know about all of this data. I didn't know
Yeah.
about all of this XG, XGC at all before I came to Twitter. So that helped. And also one thing, I think information is a key. As I said, I used to take -4, -8, just without thinking. Because I was just thinking, oh, you know what, this player's price is changing, so I had to catch it. I mean, catch it up.
Yes.
So I just check the price. But then I came to know that the information is important. Because there'll be always alternatives. Yeah, there might be. I mean, you might not have the best players, or who are probably gonna like have a lot of halls or something like that, but there are always alternatives. I feel that. So information is key. So and I think that is probably paying off.
Yeah.
And I became really boring in last 3 or 4 years. Like just being patient. I'm very much template-ish type
Yeah.
um, manager, I would say. So probably that helped. Long
I
story
think
short. So
I think you and I were playing very similarly last season because we were, I think I finished 2.5. You finished 3.8. So we were very sort of close. Probably for majority, it felt like for majority of the season because we kept sort of, calling that out as well, but I remember like we were having conversations about the players that we were thinking about being a little bit more conservative and safe with the picks as well, and there was occasions where I took a few more risks and they didn't pay off, or they did pay off, but yeah, I definitely played a little bit more conservatively, I would say, last season than I am this season. But yeah, it's funny what you say about sort of knowledge and just kind of that information and just being patient. And I was definitely a lot more patient last season. The first half of this season, I sort of wasn't very patient. I wasn't patient with my picks like Salah, bringing him in very early in the season, then getting rid of him very bit too soon, perhaps. And same with some of the other picks that I made as well. Like I feel like I was chasing the previous week's points as well, and really rookie kind of mistakes, I would say. Whilst sort of I felt like there were good decisions at the time, the outcome wasn't that good. So perhaps it wasn't a great decision in the context of when I was making that choice, right? So yeah, it's been a really interesting hearing about your sort of journey as well, and sort of experience of it, and for so long as well. Like I only discovered FPL. Well, I mean I knew about it, but I only really got playing 2 seasons ago. So this is only my third season. But yeah, look, I'm really enjoying it. And it sounds like you are as well. Tell us a little bit more about like what you've been doing as well. So you've been now sort of teaming up with the other FPL Radar guys, and you're creating lots of impressive data. And yeah, do you work in the data field for work as well, or
So by profession, all of us are engineers.
yeah,
So we have to deal with data a lot. So yeah, I think creating visuals, playing with data, and I mean, I had also my research with related to data as well. So I think from there I got that passion as well,
yeah,
using data and then visualizations. And all of us are the Radar FPL boys. But this picture that you have right now, I would like to tell, so we have a football group here. In
yeah,
US we call it soccer, as you know. So and
yeah.
its name
Unfortunately,
yeah, it's basically Dribble. So the name of this group is Dribble. So
yeah.
we actually team up. We play almost once or twice a week. Even
Oh,
during winter,
nice.
we actually reserve indoor facilities. Pay ourselves to reserve it, and we always play, or we try to at least play. And the age range will be surprised. It's age range from 18 to 50 or 60. So it's
Oh,
a lot of
wow,
people
that's so
yeah.
good.
So yeah, it's pretty good. It's very friendly. So yeah, we actually participated in a tournament. It was a futsal, and we won. So that's the picture you see here. And then the Radar FPL actually came from this dribble group, I would say, because
Ah,
FPL Kante and me, we used to play football together a lot, and those guys were um, used to talk each other, and I was hearing, they said, you know what, I should probably do this transfer next week. Probably Aguero is going to be doing that. I said, are you guys talking about fantasy football? And they said, yeah. Do you play? I said, yeah, I do play. And then they included me in their mini league. And that's when I came to know about Zidane's dad, because he was always in the top in this mini league,
Yeah.
and that's how, like, FPL Kante, me, and Zidane's dad, or Abid actually his name.
Yeah.
So three of us actually like teamed up, and whenever we started, Radar FPL, we really didn't think about to have these data heavy things, to be honest. We started, like, we used to chat a lot, like, what should we do, what should we do with our teams, right? And then that's when we thought, let's probably have this chat over the YouTube, or, like,
Yeah.
kind of live. And that's when we started Radar FPL, like 2 years ago. But then I would say, I must say, like, we had hiccups, and we still have hiccups, because we were, like, it's kind of a hobby, all three of, and it was
Of
very difficult,
course.
to maintain, to get the time for all three of us, and putting time on that. And also, like, less viewers, less followers, less subscribers. You put a lot, you put a lot of time and effort, but not really very much response. But again, the data thing came, like, in the way it came. We got to know about this data whenever we came to Twitter, right? So there are a lot of data. It's
Yeah.
overwhelming, and you can actually, like, say, sort out, like, say, I want to see the best midfielder, for example, right? You can find out the midfielder, and then you sort it out. You're gonna see only the top, whatever like midfielders, and then you have to again reverse sort to get the, like, worst one, and you have to do the same thing for defenders. So we feel that, okay, we can put this all in visuals.
Yeah.
You have
Love
a
it.
x-axis, y-axis. You can have different size and colors, and we can have a lot of information together in one visual. And that's when we thought, let's do it. And we talked to each other, does it make sense? And then we started releasing these from our, like, own handle, sometimes from Radar FPL as well.
Yeah.
And then we started getting some, like, exposure, and people started liking us. We got featured sometimes in the burning question, when Pras and Ronaldo started
Yeah.
doing that. And then FPL Wear, and then Fantasy Football Scout, Black Box. And that's when we thought, that's probably our niche. We
Yeah.
should probably stick with it.
Absolutely.
And beginning this season, we had less than 1,000 followers, I think 700 or something, but right now we are close to 7,000. So that's a big achievement. And there are a lot of people supported us. I don't want to mention any name, because I know I'm going to miss, but they know who they are. We got a lot of support from this community.
Nice.
So we really would like to thank all
Oh,
of them.
look, they're fantastic charts. I use
Mm.
them a lot. Look, I'm a data nerd. I'm just a nerd in general, but funny enough, I actually started my career in as a developer. So I used to be a full stack developer and visual designer, and then ventured into sort of user experience and sort of doing design more broadly and service design, that kind of thing. But I absolutely love data, and so I really do appreciate like the work that you guys put into those charts, those visuals, designing. So data is one thing. Data is only as meaningful as how you communicate the data, right? So the communication work that you guys do by sort of creating those charts and using the axes and all of that, it's fantastic, because you should be able to sort of interpret that data, use it to add value to the thing that you're trying to do, and so kudos to you guys for actually sticking with it and doing it, and the traction that you guys are getting as well is very well deserved. It's probably a really good segue to talk about our game week 36, and thank you so much for sharing your journey as well, Gollum. It's really, really appreciated. And I'm just going to give a bit of a shout out to those in the chat as well. So as I sort of go back to I'll find your game week. So I noticed that. So big shout out to PSB, who's based in India, and it's 3:45 a.m. over there. So thank you so much. It's so difficult to find a time zone where the US, the UK, or like US, Europe-ish, and in like the subcontinent of like Asia, or South Asia sort of part, and then Australia as well, to try and make it work for all the regions. So we're always sort of sacrificing one one region, and in this case it's South Asia. So yeah, very, very sorry, and thank you so much, PSB, for being there. And Monkey, you're here from France, so amazing. Yeah, thank you so much as well. It is pretty late in the UK, so I do appreciate it. Great to see you, Gov, FPL, and Dan. Yeah, absolutely, charts are the best. Yeah, follow them religiously for sure. Yeah. And great to see you as well. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for tuning in. And yeah, hopefully it's a really good time for those in the States. I always feel like I sacrifice, our friends in the US. And so yeah, it's really great to have you on, Gollum, and just to chat to you about all the things. So, game week 36. How did you go? Like you got an amazing final sort of points tally there for 108 points. Yeah, tell us really quickly, like from highs and lows of game week 36, your review.
So that's the first 100 of this season.
Oh,
for me.
nice.
Yeah, so it was pretty good. Before that, I'd like to mention my season started very rough, very, very rough. I was in millions, like 4 millions or 3 millions for a long time.
Yeah, me too.
But very recently, actually, like I started getting some luck, I would say, or positive variance. So yeah, this week was pretty good. As you can see, right? Only 2 players didn't return, and that's basically Barn and Ederson, which was, I would say, very unlucky because the goal that Newcastle conceded, it was, I mean, without any reason, because that Mark Ritchie came in the 85th minute or so, and I don't know why he couldn't pass the ball to Dubravka, and it just became corner, and from there they concede. So, and Ederson made a mistake whenever he was like trying to clear the ball. So other than that, it was pretty good. Haaland captain, and as I said, I'm a very boring manager, very template-ish manager. So I really, Haaland has been my captain most of the times,
Okay.
unless I had to go elsewhere. So yeah, but I think out of all of this, the best one or best return, I would say, from Nicholas Jackson. That's because he was kind of low owned, I think less than 40% or so. So, and which gives you like more gains, right? So
Yeah.
that's the one, I would say, and it was pretty good, which put me also inside 100k, which I didn't expect, to be honest, after the start that I had.
Yeah.
I as you saw from my rank, like the community kind of considers that top 10k is kind of probably standard. But right now there are a lot of engaged managers. There are a lot of contents. People are kind of people can also like listen to the contents and just follow whatever content creators are saying, right? So
Yeah.
it's very difficult for for the engaged manager, I would say, to ramp up the rank if you are very like falling behind.
Definitely.
But I was
Yeah.
able to manage it. I was able to manage it somehow, and I know you also were able to
Yeah.
manage it as well, because both you and I are in the very similar-ish rank in this season as well, I think.
Yeah, it's
So
been up and down, but I know what you mean. Like I feel like it's been extremes, like with so there's I would say more engaged managers in that sort of up to 500k, or in the first like 1 mil or something like that, like super engaged managers, probably more than what they've been in the last couple of seasons, at least that I'm familiar with anyway. But there's then sort of, I would say, 30%, 40%, 50% engaged managers right up until like even 4 million still. But then you've got the other sort of remainder, I don't know, 6 million, players who are not really playing anymore, or I don't know. I wonder what the actual stats of that is. How that's dropped off over time, but it just seems like it's extremes where the engaged managers are even more engaged, and the managers that were sort of partial engaged are even more engaged as well. So the pool of engaged managers has just increased.
that's correct, and that's why actually it became so difficult, and I love it. That becomes actually, that makes things challenging, right? So which is good. So yeah, again, I'm happy right now wherever I am at, right,
Yeah.
around 70k ish or
Yeah,
so.
just
Um,
under, yeah, like you're sitting at 69k at the moment.
yeah,
It's really good, great position to be in.
hopefully, yeah, and that's my best rank so far in this season.
Yeah.
So Yeah. It would be good to be within 100K, but if I go to 50K, that's even awesome. So
Yeah. Well, look, I think you did all the right things. I think you did all the right things with, especially with the captaincy. So I'll jump onto like my game week as well. Hey, Animations, great to see you. Yep, 11:30. Yeah, yeah. I tried to kind of time it for the UK where it was reasonable for those people that are sort of night owls as well. So great to have you in the chat. So with the game week 36, so this was my third 100. So I had a couple of really good back-to-back game weeks, and so I think from game week 34, where I did game week 34, 35, 36, yeah. Actually, no, game week 33. I think starting from game week 33, I got my first 100 points, and then game week 34 with the free hit, I got another 100 points. So I managed to halve my rank by, sort of 50% and or more, just over 2 game weeks. And then last game week, so game week 35, I think I sort of got like a 25% or 30% sort of increase. So I've had some really good back-to-back, sort of jumps. But this game week, where I probably would have had a better jump, I decided to captain Foden just because, again, I was looking at sort of differential sort of opportunities to try and get another big, rank boost as well. Because I thought there'll be a lot of people that had wildcarded in 35, and so their teams are set up really well. So their teams were looking very similar. So I didn't captain Haaland, which it wasn't that bad. So I still got a 20, I think it was about 20% green arrow for this game week, and it took me to about 82k. But the wonderful beta feature on live FPL where you can sort of put in like change your captaincy. I changed my captaincy, and it told me that I would have been at 52k if I'd captained Haaland. So I was like, shit, So it's okay. Like I made my choice to go Foden captain. But I think what helped by not going Haaland captain was my defence. So, getting Gabriel 7 points. Reguilon has been a huge differential for me the last couple of game weeks. He's just been returning. And Guardiol, who I brought in game week 33, who was probably my biggest differential back then, where I started to, get some of those rank increases and the boost that I needed basically to get into the top 100k. So yeah, it's been it's been a challenge because like you, I had a really poor start to the season. I was hovering around 3 million, 4 million mark for quite a long time. I think it was only game week 24 or so maybe about 12 or 13 game weeks ago roughly, where I decided, you know what, I'm not going to focus on my rank and what that's looking like. I'm going to focus on my mini leagues and just, try and win those if I can. And, it was more about my family mini league because I was like, they're just going to, I'm heading to the UK soon as well. So I'm heading to Japan tomorrow for 2 weeks and having a nice holiday and a break. But I'll be heading to the UK to catch up with my family in London. And the last thing I wanted was to arrive in the UK shortly after game week 38 and not win my family mini league. So, yes, I've got a wedding to attend where all of my family mini league people are, the team members are going to be at the wedding as well. So I'm hoping that we'll be able to have a good chat about FPL while I'm away as well. So I started focusing on the mini leagues, and it's definitely helped because I'm like Dan said, never use that feature. I tried not to, but I was like, I couldn't resist because it was such a, I just couldn't believe Haaland, got 2 pens, scored 4 goals after not playing so sort of consistently, but it's Haaland, so I should have known better. Who knows? It's tough,
I think,
isn't it?
one thing I just would like to highlight here, so just based on your experience and my experience, right? Both of us were like in millions, and I was also like, millions, I think in until game week 18 or 19, something like that, right? So, but the difference between you and me was like, as you said, after 24 or 25, you thought, you know what, I'm gonna go with differentials. I don't care about ranks or anything, and it actually paid off for you, right? You came to within 100k, right? Playing these differentials.
Yeah.
On the other hand, myself, as I said, I was really still very boring. I didn't thought, you know what, I need to go for differential. I just did whatever I used to do, and like just kept, kept my patience. And I was also able to came to within 100k somehow, right? So the thing is like, both way works, and
That's
basically you
right.
have to find
Yeah.
out however you enjoy or however you play, right? So
Yeah,
there is
yeah.
no right or wrong thing. So that's one thing I always want to convey, that just play your own game, just do
Absolutely.
whatever you love. So
Absolutely. And, I joke about it, but I'm very serious when I say that I was stalking my mini league rivals. Like, especially in the FPL community over here. So we've got the FPL Australian Twitter leagues, which is very, like I know, like the US leagues are very much modelled off of, the great work that some of our community has been doing. So Tien, who's in the chat as well, so. I managed to get into the Elite League last season for, winning the Twitter League in last season. So I got that jump up straight into the Elite League this season. And yeah, it's been great to be up there, but I've been sort of like, oh crap, I'm not going to be staying in here because I'm doing so badly. So I started stalking everyone that was above me and below me to see what they've got and what chips they have left as well, and my family as well. And I was like, oh, they've just played their bench boost. They're going to need that later, kind of thing. And so I was like stalking everyone. And now it's like I'm a good sort of 70 points ahead of the next, number 2 in my family league. So I was like, yeah, I could just go differential. It's fine. I'll just experiment a little bit and try and still aim for like that, top 100k. But I think when I started the season and I was hovering in 3 million, if someone offered me 500k or top 1 mil, I would have taken it, because I was just not making the progress earlier on in the season that I hoped that I'd be able to make. So you're right. You have to play it your own way and try not to get too distracted. Like I don't consume too much content. There's like select sort of podcasts and sort of videos or charts, data that I consume, conversations that I have with people as well along the way, where I try and sort of maintain an unbiased sort of opinion as much as possible. But it is hard. There's so much out there, as we sort of mentioned earlier. There's just so much content out there. But it's these types of conversations that I value the most. And it's really funny because like I was in Canberra the other week, and when I was bringing Jackson into the team, and Tien sort of I popped this up on the screen earlier, but I very last minute took a -8 and took out Muniz, who did score game week 35, but I brought in Jackson, who also scored. So, and Jackson just got that 16 pointer. So I feel like that was a good last minute very impulse transfer that I made. I'm glad that I have him. Now everyone's going to have him. So he was a differential for me, but not so much anymore. Anyway, so yeah, it looks like we both had a good game week, given that we got sort of 100 pointers and green arrows and, aiming for. So what's your new goal? Like, I guess, like with sitting at 69k, what are you aiming for? We've got 2 game weeks to go.
I'll just, again, I will not chase, I'll say. I just want to be, it would be good to be within 100k, as I said. But again, if it took me to 50k, that's even awesome. So last year, in last game week, so even last 2 seasons, just before game week 38, I was outside of top 10k. I was 11k or something like that. In one of these seasons, I just like went from 11k to 12k.
Yeah.
While in the last season, I thought, what, I need to get the 10k. So I took the shot with Kane. There was the news. I think Salah is not starting, something like that. So I got Kane, captained him, and in order to get 10k, I actually even landed in top 5k. Last season. So I was expecting something like this maybe. So it would be, yeah, again, 50k would be awesome, but I would be happy with within 100k. So 100k would be my goal. I would say. So
Yeah,
don't
awesome.
don't want to keep my hope very high.
Yeah, I'm doing the same. I'm doing the same. Like I think with now that I've sort of got into the 100k, focusing on the mini leagues especially, I'd love to be able to finish within the 100k. Anything more than that is a bonus, and so I'd be very happy with that. And so from a like an average sort of point of view, I'm thinking, oh well, okay, my first season was 190k, so I was in the top 200k. Second season within the top 5k. Third season it's okay that it's in 100k, so it's still I'm still sort of what I set out to do, like at the beginning of the season anyway. I'm really happy with where things are at, and of course I started this show at the beginning of this season, mostly to keep a video diary of like how I'm going and what's been, how I'm playing, but also talking about the highs and lows of the season, the journey that I've been on, all of that. And it's been fantastic bringing on, a whole bunch of guests along the way as well, and just kind of doing, WTF moments as well along the way, and just sharing that with everyone. So, so big shout out to the community who's been, supporting me along the way as well, and just kind of turning up to these streams especially, and sort of, supporting through liking and subscribing, which is probably a good opportunity to say, please do like and subscribe. I've been trying to hit 500 subscribers for this season if I can. I think I'm about 30 subscribers or so off. Also, it might be a bit of a challenge, who knows, but if you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe. Really do appreciate it. I'd love to be able to do this next season as well. Like you, Gollum, for me, this is a hobby, something that I sort of fit into my work schedule and sort of timing and life and travel and all of that. But it's something that I care about and, very much enjoy as well. So, so please do like and subscribe. All right, we will move on to a little bit of planning and start thinking about game week 37. So funny enough, I arrive, so I'm flying out to Tokyo tomorrow, and it's a morning flight from over here in Australia. So I think I arrive into Tokyo with 2 hours in hand before the deadline. So I'm going to have to work out how I do that. So I'll probably land, I think I land at, 5 p.m. local time or something. And the deadline over there is about, 7 p.m. I think. I need to check that when I arrive. So hopefully it's not sort of the deadline hasn't passed. But so I need to kind of, I think my first thing I'm going to do is jump onto Twitter and find out what the hell's been going on, go to some reliable sources and find out like what's been happening with the early kickoff at the very least. But I didn't really plan that out very well, like with my travel. But it's okay. We will, for this part of the conversation, we'll look at Rob T's just chart over here. I wanted to grab some of the work that you guys have done as well. So we'll have a look at the Radar differential picks shortly after this. And I know that you guys are going to be sending out some more charts over the next day or so, is that right?
Yeah, it's gonna be like either tonight or tomorrow. We usually do matchups for each game week, captaincy, and also there are some other things as well. But yeah, hopefully either tonight or tomorrow. I think US time. Yeah, we're gonna release something. So yeah, just stay tuned and follow us.
Yep. Awesome. Etienne just said, tell the customs officer to wait while you make your transfers and finalize your team. I might have to do that. I might have to just kind of have data on my existing SIM card because I won't have a local SIM card straight away. So all these things that I've got to plan, I mean, I still got to pack properly. So anyway, so with the fixtures coming up, let's chat about some of the fixtures that we've got, especially like with the doubles and the clean sheet odds. So what's your, Gollum, what's your gut saying on, with some of the doublers that are coming up? How are you feeling about the doubles right now? Like, are you confident with what is being described over here, especially from a goals point of view? City have been pretty rampant.
I think so. I mean, this is actually one of the best contents right now in the community. I closely follow Rapti's this chart, so I highly encourage others as well who are viewing this. I think everybody follows Rapti's.
Yeah.
So I think this makes pretty much sense because the title race is still there, right? So Man City 2.85 or around close to 3 goals, really seems reasonable. And I think first of all, Fulham is in the beach. We
Yeah, they
saw that
are.
even last season as well. While Man City needs to win, and it's an away game, but Man City actually put a good show in the away than home recently, actually, or even this season. So uh, I think Man City versus Fulham 3 goals looks pretty solid to me.
Yeah, I reckon
And then
so.
it's yeah, and Spurs versus Burnley. Another, I mean, Spurs are not really in a good shape, but again, at their home, they are really different.
Yeah.
Like we always see that, like the teams at their home are completely different than away from the home, and that's why also in our chart we also try to kind of differentiate home and away, and that's what you see here as well. Like Tottenham versus Burnley, 3 goals. I think there will be a goal. There will be a lot of goals.
There'll be a lot of
I
goals.
think
Yeah.
in the reverse fixture it was, I think, 5-2 or 5-1. I forgot. In the reverse fixture, actually,
Yeah.
Spurs scored 5 goals. I believe.
Yeah.
So
No, I'm expecting a lot of goals. So I've only got Son in my side, and Marcus FPL Bateman has just asked a question around, do we think Richarlison gets two double game week 37 starts? I I think so. I think it looks like, yeah. I, to me, it feels like Richarlison is key. I don't know if Son playing through the middle is working for them as much as Son playing from the wing. Not sure, but I reckon one start and one off the bench.
yeah, so I anticipate, I mean, max 120 minutes from Richarlison. So I think he's going to start Burnley game unless there is any health concern or anything.
Yeah,
But I mean, in the last game, whenever he and Madison came on the pitch, Spurs looked good. So
yeah.
I think he's going to start the Burnley game. Now, if you are a Richarlison owner, I think you will be happy if he gets less minutes in the City game, because that probably is going to ensure that he's going to start Sheffield United game. That's a money game for you, right?
Yeah.
Because against City game, we don't expect much, to be honest, from these Spurs boys, right? Um, so Burnley game is the most important one. So if we get 1 or 2 returns from Burnley game, and if he gets a assurance that he's going to start the Sheffield United game, that's probably you like more, right? So I think, yeah,
Yeah.
he might get 2 starts, max 120 minutes, otherwise probably 90 to 100 minutes, which is probably good for the owners just because of game week 38, because they are
Yeah.
playing Sheffield.
Yeah, I agree. And of course the Burnley fixture is earlier than, so that's the first fixture that they've got. City, they're playing later on in the week, so yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Let's have a really quick chat about Everton Sheffield though, because like a lot of players, going into double, if you're on bench boost especially, you're probably thinking about playing Pickford, or if you're not on bench boost as well. But a lot of managers have got Pickford, they've got Branthwaite as well. I'm thinking maybe Tarkowski, potentially, especially in defence. I don't think anyone would have attack Everton sort of side of things. And given that they've got like 2.3 sort of goals there, but the clean sheet odds are really high. And so this is where, someone like me going into, game week 37 with a bench boost, I don't have any Everton players. But I only have 11 doublers as well. So, and I'm on the market, I've got 2 free transfers and I'm on the market for defenders because I've still got Udogi in my team. But there's quite a few managers in the similar sort of boat where they've got probably defensive transfers to make, because the defense has been absolutely shite over the last, I don't know, 5 game weeks, 10 game weeks or so. I think that's probably where I've made the most transfers in the defensive sort of side of things as well. But if you have Everton players, especially in defence, are you thinking about keeping them and playing them for a bench boost as well? Like, should we be?
Absolutely. I mean, you see the clean sheet odds, right? So
Yeah.
they are very much on the top. I think just after City, isn't it? 42 and then 38. So, and I mean, Everton looked really good recently. Now, actually, they already avoided the relegation, right? So, now one concern is that whether they're gonna be completely like game on mode at the home game, and just give a good show and then they may concede. That's one thing. But I think this is a legit shout. Like the even I'm also thinking to get Everton defender maybe.
Yeah.
But partially the another reason is we don't have any other good defenders from other teams. I mean, especially the double game wickets, right? So, um, for example, City, yes, you have, but you might be tripled up already. Those who already had a recent wild card or even
Yeah.
wild card before, they might be already tripled up, right? Then Newcastle, the same thing. You might already
Same.
have Gordon or Isak, so and probably you already have Barnes, so and then Chelsea also, right? So that's the problem. So I mean, if you tell me, or if you ask me that, okay, what's your order in terms of selecting defenders from double game wickets? I think that's the order, like City, but then you might be tripled up. Then probably Spurs, right? Spurs actually good shout just because of the
Yeah.
Burnley game, the first game, right? And then Newcastle, Chelsea. So those people are already tripled up, or maybe there are other better options in terms of attack, right? And that's when actually the single game wickets come, because other double game wickets like Man United and Brighton, they're,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to talk about Man United, so they are in a very bad shape, and
Sore topic.
um, yeah, and also like I mean, the teams they're
Yeah.
going to like face Arsenal and Newcastle. Those teams are going to score for
Yeah.
sure. So now Brighton is a good shot, but again, they're like opponents are not like these clean sheet potentials are not there either, right?
Yeah.
So that's why you have to find out someone from single game week, right? And that's where Arsenal or Everton come, right? Now the question is, if you need anyone that you need for both game weeks, like 37 and 38, then Arsenal is a good choice.
Yeah.
But if you just need someone just in the 37, then Everton is a good shout, because they're going to play versus Arsenal in 38, right? So in that game, you don't expect them to keep clean sheet, right? So
No.
that's the
Yeah.
order I feel, and that's where like Everton players became
Yeah.
very popular, right?
Yeah, I don't mind that. And Marcus was actually, as we touched on Brighton as well. So Marcus just said, he likes Dunk for the double. Brighton only conceded point. Wow, is that all? Wow, okay, yeah, there you go. Like, that's pretty. Yeah, it's pretty good. But I personally, I wouldn't be thinking about bringing in Brighton because I'm also thinking about like I've got two defenders at the moment. I've got Udogi still in my defense, and I've got also Gusto, who's a bit of a problematic, at the moment. Now, the other three defenders that I have is Gabriel, Reguilon, and Guardiol. Now, I'll probably keep all three of them, including on my bench boost, because Brentford are playing Bournemouth, and so I'm okay with that. And Reguilon's been absolutely fantastic, so I'll just keep that. But yeah, I'm not sure. Like I'm thinking about game week 38 as well, because I don't have any other chips, or I don't plan to do anything else. So, my Branthwaite, if I decide to bring in Branthwaite, I might sort of just leave him on the bench, right? Who cares at that point? It's really for the bench boost. And so I'm thinking about game week 38 partially, but mostly game week 37, so I can maximize on my bench boost. And seeing those clean sheet odds there for Everton is definitely making it more appealing as well. Yun asked a question around 8 Nori. I feel like the Wolves and Crystal Palace match is going to be, it's very sort of leveled, isn't it, in terms of goals and in terms of clean sheets there as well. I'm not sure what 8 Nuri's status is like, but if Dan is still in the chat, maybe Dan, who's Black Wolf, can probably give us a bit of direction on that, like with if it's worth sort of keeping him for bench boost. But yeah, any thoughts on this question, Gollum?
Yeah, I think itinerary is a good shout again, especially for 37, right? Bench boost. I think if you have it, just play him, because
Yeah.
that's a home game versus Palace. He looked attacking every time. Like he actually looks so amazing. And as Dan was saying, he's fully fit and he also trained. So I think if you have him, just play him. And
Yeah.
he plays very upfront, right? He plays like an attacker. So I don't mind it to play him.
Yeah.
in the bench boost.
Yeah, no, definitely. Let's have a quick chat, like a very quick chat about Man United players as well, because like there'll be a lot of managers who do have Man United players, so they, very likely have a defender or two. I know a few people that had Onana and Maguire. Maguire's obviously out. Onana, I wouldn't say it's a bad sort of goalkeeper shout, just because he'll get the save points as well, especially with the two fixtures that they've got coming up as well. But what do you do if you have Bruno in the team still?
I think you just wait until the presser. That's gonna be on Friday. There is nothing yet, regarding Bruno. I think I was in the office, so today I missed all the, Twitter, what's going on. But I
Yeah,
think I heard that he was not shown in any of the training picture,
right.
which is a concerning because like Bruno Fernandes is a like 90-minute guy, so whenever he miss like a game because of the his
Yeah.
health concern or injury, that's probably severe. And another thing is like Man United have a FA Cup game, like I think that's the only thing they are gonna play for, right? So they may want
Yeah,
to keep Bruno as safe as possible, so that at least
that's a
he
good
should be fit
point.
before the FA Cup. So I don't know. You just wait until the presser, but I think if he's not fit, you just move on. Even if there is nothing about him, you should move on.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I reckon so. In terms of like bringing Man United players in, should we be considering, like, especially from an
No.
attack sort of perspective? Like, no, okay.
Well, I mean, I would say no. I mean, now you might think, what, that if I say get only player you can think of Garnacho, right?
Yeah,
Only
sure.
Garnacho. There is no one else. Now, if you think that okay, Garnacho may enable Salah in game week 38, that could be something to think about. But still, I mean, there are better options there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say no. But again, Salah is very tempting in 38. So if you do that math, if that allows or enables Salah for you in 38.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I think we'll chat a bit more about that as we look at our bus teams soon as well. So let's have a quick chat about the Newcastle players as well, Newcastle fixtures. So Newcastle have got United away. It looks pretty even, based on Rob T's chart. So with that particular fixture, so roughly just under, 2 goals, and then clean sheet odds being fairly low for both of them as well. They've both been pretty leaky, as we know. What sort of players do you have in your team from Newcastle, and are you thinking about sort of any transfers in with Newcastle players at the moment?
No, I'm actually tripled up with Newcastle already. So,
Okay.
but if you are not, or if anyone who are listening to us, I think you get Isak first of all. So um, basically, I think he's on 21 goals or so, something like that. He fall a little bit behind from Haaland just because last game week Haaland scored 4 goals. Um, but I think still, he'll be uh, on penalties if Wilson doesn't show up. Although we
Yeah.
we heard that Wilson probably was shown in the training, but still, I think they played pretty well. We hardly see them play each other, them play
Yeah.
together, but we saw that in the last game week that they played well. So yeah, again, I think Isak is the must own, I would say, and then Gordon, and then I think Shar. A lot of people had Shar who got
Yeah.
injured, so people are probably kind of looking for alternatives. So Barn is probably the most nailed one, so
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
kind of cheap too. Uh,
As a
Although we
differential,
recently
especially.
heard about Trippier, who was seen in the training. Now, I don't know if he's gonna start both games. To be honest, so
No, I
it's
really
not
want
very.
him.
Yeah,
I brought
exactly, right.
in,
So if you'd have,
yeah,
yeah,
I brought in Trippier really early in the season, and he went off,
me too. Yeah,
and which was great. Like that helped a lot to get out of that, 3-4 million, region. But I agree with you. I don't see him sort of starting both. Maybe he gets a start in one, but I
Yeah.
don't see a both. Yeah.
So yeah, basically like Trippier, and then now if Trippier plays, then Livramento. I mean, if Trippier is not there, then Livramento would be good shout, right? Because he is playing kind of left wing back, and he's very attacking minded too. But if Trippier comes, then who knows if Livramento is gonna play both games? He may play though, because like he may
Yeah,
play in
because
the
he can
left hand
play on
side, right, where
left.
he
Yeah.
can. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But again, is he? So that's the thing, right? So but again, if you're chasing, or if anyone's chasing, and if they want to go some differentials, I think Trippier and Livramento could be a good shot. I would not go there. I just told my top three,
Yeah.
targets from this team. So
Yeah. No, I
it's
agree.
Isak, Gordon, and then Dan Burn. So
Yeah. So I'm not tripled up on Newcastle at the moment. I'm very likely to triple up on Newcastle.
who do you have?
Will So I've got Gordon and I've got Isak, and
Oh,
have
okay,
had them both
that's
for
good.
quite a while as well. But I'm on the market for defenders, so it's very likely going to be a defensive transfer there, given that they've got a couple of they're good fixtures coming up for, I can play them for three matches that they've got remaining as well. However, yeah, I'm not too sure where to go, and so I think we'll have a look at the differential chart in a moment and see if it's worthwhile going differential, because it seems like otherwise everyone's got Dan Burn, and so I'm probably gonna, it might end up there. So it just depends if I make two defensive transfers this week, or just leave, make one defensive transfer, take a risk on playing Gusto, and then have two free transfers going into 38. So yeah, I'm just currently thinking about that. Just looking at the remainder sort of games there. Let's chat about Chelsea very quickly. I think the rest of them feel like they're going to be like Bournemouth Brentford. Brentford is probably going to be a fairly sort of balanced game. Maybe, I don't see a clean sheet there. I'm going to be having Reguilon on my bench boost, but yeah, I really don't feel the need to kind of take him out. So I'm hoping for an attacking return there. With West Ham Luton, I feel like, West Ham just feel like they're on the beach as well, and there's not much going to happen there. Luton, I think I think they're definitely in relegation zone, aren't they? And probably will be relegated from the looks of things.
Yeah, but they have to win, so it's a must win game for them.
Must win game. All
So
right, yeah,
I mean, they are not still relegated official. I mean, basically on pen and paper, right? So they
yeah,
still have chance. So I
yeah.
think
It's
they
looking
have to win,
close.
and then that will be. I think that's gonna be Moyes' last home game.
Yeah,
So yeah, I mean, who knows? West Ham might
put
put
on a
some
show.
show, but
Yeah,
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 but yeah, I
yeah.
mean, again, those sweets for West Ham, right? Because if Luton goes all in, then West Ham is gonna get some counter attack chances, and
Yeah.
they're good at. So
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So Liverpool, Villa, not that much to talk about there. Mo is very, very tempting. If you have Mo, you keep Mo. Yeah, I mean, especially for that final fixture. But with your Chelsea players, are you tripled up on Chelsea as well?
yeah, I mean, I played wildcard in game week 35, so yeah, I'm kind of tripled up with almost all the doublers,
Yeah,
except Brighton and Man United.
yeah,
But yeah, I think Chelsea looks pretty good recently. The Poch system recently,
yeah.
we saw that, right? Their attacking kind of clicked as well, right? So I think I expect them to score goals. So let's see. I mean, at least Palmer should click definitely. So
Yeah,
good captaincy shout, I would say, if you're thinking differential. But yeah, I think Chelsea should score goals. Those are away games, but still, I think they're going to
yeah.
score one or two goals. So
Yeah, I think the player that the player that's been on my mind this whole week is Gusto, which is very annoying. But
I know the feeling. Yeah.
yeah, so I'm not sure what to do there. Like, do I just risk it and just have him play, and just play him and hope that he plays, starts one match and then comes on, for the second, or I'm not sure what to do there.
I
But
think I don't know if you have other transfer to make. then you take care of them first before Gusto, I would say.
Mm.
You know, I
Yeah.
mean, I don't think Heat really worth it for Gusto.
No.
But if you think that, you know what, I have two free transfer and Gusto is one of them to use or to replace, then probably you can do it. But I think Gusto is gonna probably start one of these
Yeah, I
games.
think
You know,
so. I feel like it's I think I may need to just accept that my bench boost is not going to be sort of maximum potential, because I've already got I've got 4 single game week players on my bench, all the way. So I
yep.
mean, I could change that by sort of bringing in another doubler. But when we look at our bus teams, yeah, we'll sort of chat a bit more about that. But I wanted to just bring up your chart. So the under the radar chart with the differential sort of picks. If we can maybe sort of cover off a couple of the differentials in here. So I think the context that's missing here is that the green ones are the double game week players, and then the red dots are the ones where they're single game week players as well. So I mean, Wilson to me stands out here. Of course, De Bruyne as well. They're the ones that stand out, and Richarlison as well. And I imagine they're sort of hot on everyone's radar. De Bruyne's De Bruyne's an interesting one. Like, he's either all or nothing. It feels like.
Yeah, I mean, it was frustrating for the owners last game week, right? They scored 5 goals, but he didn't have any
Yeah.
involvement. So that's the thing, as you said, it's either no return or he um, just became like uh, like very hot. So, but I think I mean, if you have De Bruyne, you definitely play him, and it's a good differential shout too, right? So, for example, if people are chasing, that's why actually we made this plot. I would like to
Yeah.
give shout out to FPL Kante who made this plot. So
Yeah.
we actually kind of distribute our work, right? So he made this one. So along x-axis, as you can see, top 100k effective ownership, and that's a very good representation as well, right? Because those are
Yeah.
the engaged managers, right? So and then along y-axis is the expected points per 90 based on the previous game weeks, right?
Yeah.
So that doesn't mean this player is gonna get that many points in the next 2 but again, just based on the previous data, right?
Yeah.
So I think De Bruyne as a double game weeker is a very good shout if you are thinking something differential,
Different. Yeah.
and probably a good captaincy shout too, right? I mean, if you don't
Yeah.
want to go with Haaland, I mean, if you think, you know what,
I'm
I
too
don't want to go with
scared now.
Haaland. I know, but again, I mean, if you're chasing, because I think he's got, I mean, like you and me are in a position right now is that, okay, we want to at least secure the 100k, right? I think at least.
Yeah, that's
So that's
right.
the thing in your like back in your mind, right? Okay, you know what? If I lose the ground, then it's gonna be outside of 100k, which we don't want, right? But if you are playing somewhere, you know what? I don't care about wherever I land, even if it goes wrong. I'm gonna just go for it, right? So
Yeah.
for them, I think De Bruyne could be a good shout, as a captaincy.
I agree. Yeah.
So and Wilson is here, and again, right? I think you had a very good relationship with Wilson.
I did.
In last season. I know that because I
Yeah.
didn't have Wilson, so we were like chatting because I had Isak at that moment too. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I think Wilson is a good shot, but Richarlison is the most talking point here, right? Because of the fixture that we mentioned, Burnley and Sheffield United game,
Definitely.
right?
Yeah.
And the ceiling is pretty high, so high, right? Whenever he's on the pitch, he is selfish. I mean, I shouldn't say selfish, but he's hungry to score
He's
goals, right?
hungry.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
so that's the thing. That's the thing you want from your players, right?
Yeah.
He's very
Agree.
involved too, and he's Spurs number 9 right
Yeah.
now. So I think it's a very
Yeah.
good
No,
shout. So
I like it. Yeah, I really like the Richarlison pick. I think if I had a spot for him, I definitely bring him in. I actually brought him in quite earlier on as well, before he started, getting his double-digit hauls and sort of 8-pointers, 9-pointers, or whatever he was getting. Really good, to have him before he got injured. But I'm just going to ask you a question around some of the forwards. So, João Pedro is coming up there as well, like sort of midway up, in that chart. Brighton with their doubles and João Pedro on pens as well. He is a bit of he's a good player. Not
he
so
is a
consistent,
good player.
but Brighton have been a bit.
But the injury issues that Brighton have, that also played a huge role. So over the season, I mean, that team became they were very sexy, right? I mean, attacking so good to see watch them. But again, because of all of these injuries, they became very pragmatic. They didn't. They were not able to like keep up with their attacking.
Yeah.
But as FPL Batman mentioned, right, that
Yeah.
at least the defense actually were not that bad, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Agree.
If you see the data, their attacking data um, kind of went down,
Yeah.
but the defensive data was not really bad. So, but again, going back to Joe Pedro, the more interesting one is I think game week 38 because they're playing versus Man United at
Yeah.
home. So and he's on penalties. So I think that's where the most interesting
There is a
thing
bit of
for
appeal.
Joe Pedro.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I agree.
So and also again they have doubles, right? And the penalty takers. I mean, you can get penalties. We saw there are a lot of penalties this season,
There's
right?
so
Because of
many
VAR and
penalties. Yeah.
exactly. So I think you should give values to penalty takers, and Joe Pedro is a penalty takers um, for Brighton. So I think
Yeah.
you should. He's a good shout, considering both 37 and 38. So
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Like, if you don't want to go Jackson, right? Like, I think most managers will have Haaland and Isak up front. But I really do like the Wilson pick. Like, I think just doubling up there, especially like from a Penn's point of view. I'm not sure what's happening. Like, what would probably happen, like with Isak missing that penalty, and I imagine that he only took that penalty because he's in the Golden Boot race, and because Wilson was on the field when Isak took that penalty as well. But I do wonder if Wilson will try and get some more minutes if he can over the next couple of game weeks. Next couple of game weeks, but the 3 matches that they've got. Also because the Euros are coming up. And so I
yep.
wonder, like from a squad sort of selection for Southgate as well, if he'd be thinking about Wilson being in that squad or not. So I imagine he'd probably want to get some minutes in as well. I'm pretty sure I heard that someone else's sort of podcast. They mentioned that a couple of game weeks, like a couple of weeks ago, a couple of days ago, or something. But yeah, I wouldn't mind sort of doubling up on the attack for Newcastle because they are very attacking. They're not really keeping the clean sheet, so there's a tiny bit of temptation there. But I've already got Jackson. So I've already got Jackson, I've got Isak, and I've got Haaland, and it just doesn't seem to make sense to do that.
Yeah. Exactly. That's the thing. I mean, there are any spots for forwards, right? So
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that another thing is Jackson has a good fixture in game week 38 too. They're playing versus Bournemouth at home,
that's right.
so
Yeah,
that's another thing, right? So
yeah,
if I were chasing, I would not probably go with Isak, to be honest. If I were chasing right
yeah.
now, if I would have any spot, I would probably get either probably Joao Pedro because Isak is pretty highly owned. It's 100% EO, almost 100% EO, I think. So you'll not get any gain. Yeah, definitely
Yeah,
that can damage your rank.
yeah,
But if you're chasing, I think I would probably avoid Isak and probably go with either Wilson or not Wilson, but Joao Pedro is very tempting just
yeah,
because of
yeah.
game week 38 too. So
Yeah, definitely. And Marcus just mentioned, Jacob Murphy being a huge differential pick as well. So yeah, agree. Hey, Elena, great to have you in the chat as well. Thanks for joining. I know it's pretty late over there, so appreciate those that have gone past sort of midnight that are able to be around for this stream as well. So yeah, please do like and subscribe. Just mention that again. Trying to hit sort of 500 subscribers if I can before the end of the season. That would be amazing. It's totally okay if it doesn't happen either. I'm just truly grateful to have even got to where I am at the moment with some of the content that I've been creating as well. So look, this chart is fantastic. I see sort of Livramento down there and Trippier. So I am very tempted by Trippier. But I don't think I'll go there just because, I feel like, I'm not going to be able to, which is probably a good opportunity to jump to our bus team. So, Gollum, I've got your bus team up on the screen. So those that might be sort of listening, do you want to just kind of talk through your bus team, who you have, and what
yeah,
your transfer thoughts
absolutely.
are?
So I'm on bench boost, as you mentioned before. So
Yeah,
my bench boost is active. So those who are listening to us, if you are thinking to play bench boost, definitely activated it because if you don't want, you can still deactivate later. But there is no harm activating it right now. So my goalie right now, Ederson, and then I have in the defense, I have Barn from Newcastle, Gabriel, and then Pedro Porro. And then I have Gordon, Foden, Son, and Palmer in the midfield. And in the forward, like you, I have Jackson, Isak, and Haaland. So my goalie in the bench is Petrovic. I have Madison, and then Saliba and Maguire. So
Yeah.
I have two free transfer, but I have only 0.3 million in the bank. So my team value is very very bad, very very low,
Oh,
just because
yeah.
I wait till the last minute, because I wait for all the information, and that's why, as I said, I change my playing style, right? So I don't
Yeah.
chase prices, and that's why my team value is very very low, very very low. Anyways, so Maguire is definitely going just because he's injured, right? So there is no point keeping him since I'm playing bench boost. So that's where uh, I will have one transfer. So uh,
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be one of the either Brighton boys, or it can be like Everton boys. So Tarko or Branthwaite or Dunk or I have to see. But
Yeah.
again, Maguire is going. So that's one of my transfer. But my like more dilemma is actually the Madison.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
should I keep him or should I move on to Richarlison? That's my dilemma here,
Yeah.
to be honest. So uh, right now it's hard. I'm thinking to keep him, but again, it's kind of 55-45 or 50-50 still, I would say. Sometimes I feel like
Yeah.
I should probably go from Madison to Richarlison, but the only problem I see that, okay, I will have only one free transfer in game week 38. So in game week 38, there are lot of things can happen, because for
Yeah.
example, the title race might be done by
Yeah.
37, and
Agree.
there will be a lot
Yeah.
of rest, and you might see that you might not have a lot of players. So it would be good to have two free transfer. So that's kind of back in my mind, said
Yeah.
so if I make two transfer here, that may lead me to like a hit in game week 38, so which I don't really like.
Yeah.
um so yeah, that's the dilemma right now, and that may also think like that may also lead me to not having any sort of Arsenal players too in game week 38, because I mean Arsenal attacker, because if I move from Madison to Richarlison,
Yeah.
then that means I'm gonna play
You're gonna
Richarlison in
hold.
38.
Yeah.
Yeah, versus Sheffield United. Then I have to move from Gordon to someone, and then I don't have enough money to get Kai Havertz or Saka. I may go to then Martinelli or Trossard, if
Yeah.
but depending on the league. So yeah, I'll see. Or actually, the differential, as you saw in the plot as well, Olise is there. So
Yeah.
I actually
Yeah.
even tweeted as well from my handle that maybe I don't need any Arsenal attacker in 38, because the league might be done by that time. So who
That's
knows?
true.
So in that
Yeah.
case, I might get only Elise, Olise, or like if the league is done, then um, like Nketiah may start
Yeah.
in the
True.
forward, so I can get him too. So anyway, so
There's
probably I'm
options. Yeah.
overthinking, so I might just go with Richarlison and just uh, get whatever I have right now and think about 38 later. So that's where my dilemma is right now. So
Yeah, no, that's fair. And yeah, I feel like your Madison dilemma is very similar to my Gusto dilemma at the moment. But I love that you've got, yeah, you've got what 13 double game week players at the moment. I mean, obviously you're going to make the Maguire transfer. Um,
yeah, if
yeah,
it is Everton, then it's gonna be 12 actually.
yeah,
So
true, true.
which is not
Yeah,
ideal, to be honest. Three single game week defender with bench boost. In bench boost is really not ideal, but it is what
yeah,
it is. So
and this is what I mean. Like this is the same sort of problem I've got. Like I don't know what's the ideal number of like doublers to have, but I know that um, I in the past, especially where I've gone double game week players, they've not necessarily turned up with the points as we sort of hoped or expected, and the single game week players have outscored the doublers, right? So if I sort of talk through my team at the moment, so I've got Vicario in goal. I've got Udogi that I'm going to be, taking out. Of course, he's definitely out for the rest of the season. I just haven't prioritized, removing him. I've got Gusto there, tentative. Guardiola that I'd be sort of, playing as my starting 11. And then I've got Son, Gordon, Palmer, Foden, which is same midfield that you have, and same front line as well with Isak, Jackson and Haaland as well, and Haaland captaincy at the moment. But on my bench, I've got Areola, who's up against Luton. It's a must-win game for Luton, but it's a home fixture for West Ham. Not sure, but at this stage, do I really want to make a goalkeeper transfer for the sake of my bench boost? Maybe, maybe not. It might be that I'm taking out Gusto, bringing in Petrovic, but then I still have the Udogi problems. I can't triple up. I can't make that sort of goalkeeper transfer because I have Gusto. So then I'm hitting sort of -4 if I choose to do all of that. So yeah, so also on the bench, I've got Saka, Gabriel and Reguilon. So Reguilon, look, I'm not expecting a clean sheet there for Brentford. But yeah, for attacking returns, I'll probably just leave that also because he's not a problem at the moment. And I've got other pressing problems in the team. And Gabriel and Saka, I'm quite happy to have, on my bench because they could still outscore my doublers. And also the final fixture is a really good one as well. And I imagine Saka will still play and I imagine Gabriel will still play in game week 38 as well. So they're the only two Arsenal players that I have. So I think my weak links on my bench boost at the moment are Areola, Reguilon, definitely that are sitting on the bench if I go ahead and make the transfers for Udogi and Gusto out. And for, I'm definitely thinking Newcastle defender is probably an option because I can't bring another Newcastle player in any other position other than goalkeeper. So, but with Pope also looming as well, like will he get some starts? Will he get, there's no sort of contention about minutes as such, but he'll probably get a start. So yeah, so I can't really go there from the goalkeeper point of view. So I'm then thinking Udogi out to a Livramento or a Dan Burn. And then Gusto, I either decide to just keep him, play him, or take him out as well. But I really like the idea of going into game week 38 with 2 free transfers. So that's where my thinking is.
Do you have right now?
2.
Okay.
Yeah. So I could make 2.
So do you plan to get Richarlison in game week 38? Like, do you have this in your mind?
No.
Okay. So then I think one transfer you can do from Udogi to Poro, not Poro. You cannot. Can you afford Poro?
I can afford Poro. Yeah, I could go to Poro, but then I then have double Spurs defense, which is
probably okay.
Okay.
Because the Burnley game is, or you can go with Barn too if you want, right? So I think if I would be you, yeah, definitely one of Barn or Poro
yeah.
or Romero.
Yeah, Romero's a good shout. Yeah, just because of the threat there. And
yeah, he has good threat. And I mean, again, you have to think about 38 as well because whoever you get. So, for example, you're gonna play Gabriel in game week 38.
Yeah.
And Vardiol, you have to expect he's gonna start in 38. So these are 2 defenders. So you have to find another defender that you're gonna start in 38, right? Who's a good clean sheet potential.
Yeah.
So I think Reguilon is playing versus Newcastle at home. So Newcastle is can score. Gusto is a good one for 38 if he starts. Because
if he starts,
If he starts, right? So I don't know. I mean, it's a very tricky situation, but you can probably think of keeping Gusto but removing Reguilon and Udogi if you want to really like make your bench very strong for 37. Just a thought, like for example, getting Barn and one of these Spurs defenders. If you think, so that you'll have more doublers, and those are good doubles to like Burnley home is a good attacking, good clean sheet potential. So anyway, just a food for thought, So
they're really good suggestions, and definitely sort of on it's along the lines of what I'm thinking as well. Like I think I don't have enough double game week players, but then also I'm like, well, they're not too bad as well. And then obviously I was looking at the clean sheet odds for this week, especially. So, I was thinking about Branthwaite. Like obviously he'd be on the bench next game week, but it just means that I hold on to Gusto, so that's the downside there.
One question I want to ask. So say you just do Udogi to say Dan Burn or one player.
Yeah.
In 38, what's the transfer in your mind?
So in 30, Well, so if I do one, I was very tempted to take out Saka or Son. Probably not Son, actually, because Son's got a really good fixture. But I'd be very tempted to take out Saka and use like 2 free transfers to maybe bring in Salah for, the last game week.
Wow.
So this is where the Salah conversation. So I could then downgrade one of my forwards. Not sure. Haven't sort of really deeply thought about it, or 2 transfers in the midfield to accommodate bringing in Salah. So it can be done, but I'm not sure if I really want to do that. So yeah, I want to kind of leave it to how I'm feeling. I'm probably going to be in Kyoto somewhere when that's happening. So I'll see how zen I'm feeling in Japan.
By the way, at home.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, if the title is still on in 38, then
Yeah.
Saka versus Everton could be a good shout. So yeah, you
That's
can
what I
think of
mean.
removing Gordon to Salah if it is possible. But yeah,
Yeah.
I see what you mean.
I just want to have that option. So I think I'd rather make one transfer this week if I can get away with it and just play Gusto, take out Udogi and just have, just replace Udogi there. Probably the weakest player that I have in the side at the moment, given he's not playing at all. And then sort of make a decision about whether I want to make one more transfer or not, which also helps me in 38. It would have to. So, I don't know if that's double Arsenal defense, because a lot of managers have double Arsenal defense. That's the other thing I haven't really looked at is EO. Yeah, you have double Arsenal defense.
I actually have it for a long time.
Yeah.
So in my first wildcard, actually, I got them. So I had it for a long time. So.
Yeah. So that's where I think I might get hit from an EO sort of side of things, where I don't have double Arsenal defense. But I think if I have those 2 free transfers going into 38, it gives me options to work out what's going on by then and what's going on with the title race as well. Otherwise, I reckon I'll just be making 1 free transfer in 38 and maybe a hit even if I make the extra transfer now. So yeah, so that's what I'm thinking at the moment in terms of options to see how it goes. So there's a couple of questions. We'll move on to questions, but there's a couple of questions that have come into the chat as well. So I'll just get some of the questions up that came through for. It's great to see your daughter there.
Sorry,
that's all right. No, all good. So there's a couple of questions that we had on the tweet that we sent out as well. But there's a couple of questions in the chat as well, so we'll just have a quick look at those. So Animations was asking about for their last defender spot, do I go for a second Arsenal defender? And so, Gollum, you've got double Arsenal, but yeah, would you be thinking that, or maybe Branthwaite? I like the Branthwaite pick for this game week just because of the clean sheet odds being so high for Everton.
So we already discussed about it, right? So all the defenders, but I think particularly for Dan's situation, he already have triple City and Chelsea.
Oh, sorry, so we're looking at the chat. We're looking at the chat at the moment. So Animations is asking about the second Arsenal defender. That's okay, and then we'll jump into the Twitter ones. So he's thinking either Branthwaite or go double Arsenal defense.
I would go with again, the question is, do you need a defender in both for 37 and 38, right? So if you need a defender for both 37 and 38, then you go with Arsenal.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think overall, even between in isolation, I would go with one of the Arsenal defenders.
Yeah.
Because they have better clean sheet potential, they have better goal threat, and their fixture is good in 38 too. So I think between these two, I would go with Arsenal. So.
Yeah,
sorry, I kind of sidetracked.
No. That's
completely.
Yeah, I thought because that question came up as we were talking about the defenders. I thought let's jump there and then, but we'll look at Blackpool's question. So Blackpool's question is for the unfortunate people like me who wildcarded it in Maguire and Share, and already have 3 times City and Chelsea players. Who would you replace them with? So yeah, we've talked plenty about defenders, as you say, Gollum. But I think top of my head, look, in terms of non-doublers, Branthwaite definitely comes up there. Newcastle player, probably like a Burn from the looks of things. And yeah, I mean, you already had Share there, Dan. So yeah, maybe a Burn or a Livramento. I'm tempted by Livermento ever so slightly.
Yeah, Shard to I think Dan Burn is a pretty good shout, and I think Dan is within 10k or 5k.
Yeah,
I
he's
forgot,
doing
but definitely
so
within
well.
10k. So
Yeah,
definitely he has to maintain that.
yeah,
And Dan Burn's EO is pretty high too. So if you would like to maintain the EO, then Shard to Burn is a I think easy swap.
yeah.
And Maguire, I think he has already Triple City and Chelsea. So that means there is one spot still from his parts.
Yeah.
Looks like so. That means I don't know if he probably already have Poro. So I
Yeah, I'm not
think
sure. Yeah, I imagine he would.
yeah. So I think Romero is a good shout. So Maguire to Romero, I would love that. So to
Yeah,
answer this question, just Maguire and Shar to
yeah,
Dan Burn and Romero is a good shout for me. Um, and then the single game gets come, but I would prefer
yeah.
Newcastle and Spurs defenders over others.
Yeah. So Dan just said Burn and Romero for their guaranteed bullet headers is what I'm thinking. Yeah, I like that. I like that. I'm definitely sort of bringing one of those in. I feel so. Yeah, it's great. On to the next question. So we had one here from Marcus. So Guna's FPL, and they're saying 2 free transfers, nothing in the bank. Bench boost is active. Would like your transfer suggestions. He wants to keep the Arsenal and Liverpool boys as Marcus wants them for 38. Looking at Regulon to Van der Ven and rolling the second transfer. So I'll just bring up his team there a little bit larger so you can see that. Any suggestions for Gunnar's FPL?
I think so. He has two FTs.
Yeah, he's got 2
Team
free
looks pretty
transfers.
good for game
I
week
know, yeah.
37.
I guess regular now,
Yeah, I think
yeah.
he has double defense, double Brentford defense.
Yeah.
So
So I reckon that's a good transfer. I'm not sure
so
about,
he has Petrovic. He has.
but no money in the
How
bank.
about
So Van der
this?
Ven is probably the only real option that he's got, and then 2 free transfers
Oh,
in
he has no
38
money.
maybe. No money in the bank. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Then yeah, Van der Ven is the option. Looks like.
Yeah, I think
Yep.
that's probably good, for that current setup that you've got there. So Tien FPL Planner, who do you guys think score more over 2 game weeks? White and plus 4 points, or Guardiol plus Guardiol allows Salah back in 38 for farewell send off captaincy. Oh yeah, or King. Yeah,
So if we keep the Salah discussion out here,
yeah,
just in isolation between
yeah.
White plus 4 and Verdial, I think I would go with the former. So keep White again, keeping 38 in mind. And the thing is, like if you think they are equivalent in terms of like getting number of
Yeah.
returns, but Verdial has 1 game more. But the question is he gonna start all of these 3, right?
Yeah.
Like there are a lot of speculation that he might miss in one of the games, right? So in that case, actually, it evens out, right? So
Yeah. Agree.
so he has to play that extra game to cover that 4 points, right? So in isolation, I wouldn't do that, but the Salah factor is there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now if Verdial allows or enables Salah, then I think you would do it. But the question is, okay, if you go with White route, then who would be your alternative to Salah, right? So
Yeah.
if it is someone like Saka, then probably it's okay to keep White because Saka can match Salah. Although, Salah is a very good captaincy shout, and that's gonna be versus Wolves, the last home game, Klopp's last game, so they will be putting good show. But again, I mean, I think just the Salah discussion made this whole conversation kind of muddy, I would say. So,
Yeah, I know.
yeah. So again, just isolation. I like White more than Verdial, but if that enables Salah, then do it.
Yeah.
I love that. So
Yeah, nice. So FPL Deachin is asking, who do you think scores the most points for this double game week? Oof.
so who are we captaining this week?
I think that's what it's going to come down to, isn't it?
So
where the
basically, if you
captaincy is
captain
sitting.
Haaland, then basically you expect him to score the most points, right? So.
Yeah, I feel like Palmer's It's going to be interesting, like with the captaincy swings this time round as well. You know, like there's so
Right. I
many
think we should
different
talk about
options.
captaincy. So
Yeah, I think so.
again, if yeah,
Let's just finish off a couple of these questions and then we'll just have
yep.
a chit chat. Um, so Paz is asking if Bruno's fit, who's the best defenders to replace Dallo with? Yeah, so we've talked about defenders, Paz. So I think it's the Newcastle guys or like one of
I
the
think
Spurs
he's actually
defenders.
in a situation to burn a transfer. I think
Oh,
because
okay.
he wants to remove Dallo, right? Who is a
Yeah.
double game weaker. So I think he's in a situation to burn his transfer. So in that case, again, we talked about it, right? That
Yeah, I think so. Like from a
from
defenders.
double game wickets is the order is City, Spurs, Newcastle, then
Yeah.
Chelsea, right? But if you need someone who is gonna play in 38 as well, then the Arsenal come, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So Peter is asking, team locked for double game week 37, free transfer used, Maguire to Romero done. Now just deciding on my captaincy. So this is the perfect time to chat about sort of captaincy and have a broader discussion about it. And you can see over here that Peter has captained Palmer and his preferences between Palmer and Haaland. I think that's where like most managers will probably be as well, or even Son for some. Again, it's the type of game week where Son might turn up and score like at least one goal against City. Who knows? So, yeah, captaincy wise, there's been a lot of captaincy swings, hey, this season. There's been a lot of different options. Like that perma captaincy on Haaland from last season has somewhat sort of come into this season, but not as consistently as, it was last season. Especially because Haaland, got his injury, and then we've had the likes of, Palmer and Isak and Son and, a couple of other players, like even like Foden and De Bruyne. Like there's been a little bit more broader sort of captaincy options than what we perhaps anticipated for this season anyway. Your captaincy's on Haaland. What is that? Because you're 100% convinced that that is the best captaincy, or because you want to play it, say, from an EO point of view? What's your thinking there?
Both. I mean, I expect him. I mean, these guys just scored a hat trick last game week, right? So
Yeah.
definitely he's in form. And again, Man City need to win, right? So and Man City versus Spurs game, I think is gonna be a high scoring game. I
Yeah.
expect, you see, because the thing is, it's a Spurs home game. Okay, if it would be Spurs away game, then I think Spurs would not have any chance. But since
Yeah.
it's Spurs home game, I think it's. I mean, even in the history as well, we saw, right. This game actually is very high scoring game, at least 3 to 4 goals. We see that. So, and if Man City scored, then Haaland should be in the scorecard. That's my expectation. And the Fulham game,
Yeah.
Fulham is completely in the beach, right? So as we mentioned, and that's the first game, and they cannot they cannot afford losing any points at this point of the season, right? So
Yeah.
that's why I think Haaland is the best captaincy shout. Palmer is a good shout, Palmer, but the thing is, both of these are away games, right? So honestly, I don't expect there will be a huge captaincy swing in this game week in particular,
Yeah.
because other double game weekers are also having good fixture, especially like Spurs have Burnley. That's a
Yeah.
money game. And I mean, they are capable of scoring versus City as well, right? So that's their home game. So I actually prefer Son slightly over Palmer. That's my personal preference. So if I would not go with Haaland, I would probably go with Son. I mean,
Yeah.
if I would be chasing, okay. But again, Isak and Palmer, those are also two good captaincy shouts. The only problem with Isak right now is that Wilson is
Yeah. He's sort of
seen
looming.
in training. So who you don't know who is gonna be on penalty. I
No.
think Wilson is the main penalty taker,
Yeah.
and last game is just like, since he was in a golden boot run, I think Wilson just let him take it. So, but if Wilson on the pitch, I think, I don't know. It's probably Wilson is gonna take the penalty. So I
Yeah.
wouldn't go with Isak to be honest, if Wilson is fit.
Yeah, I agree. And I think I'm in a similar boat to you, where I would love to sort of just maintain the top 100k rank if I can. And so I won't necessarily be chasing, from a going into this double anyway, especially because I don't have as many doublers. I'm probably only going to have like 11 doublers, maybe the 12th one. Haven't sort of decided. But from a captaincy point of view, I'll probably just keep it a little bit safe, and by putting it on Haaland. I think if I was really chasing, I'd probably go Palmer. Just because I reckon, there's definitely going to be goals there. They're playing Brighton and of course they've got Nottingham Forest, which I reckon. I mean, the thing is they're both sort of away fixtures, right? So that's the only sort of downside there. But it's the same for City as well. So for me, it's definitely going to come down to the EO. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to just play it safe, especially after getting scolded, for captaining Foden in the last game week. But I do think Palmer's a really good pick there as well. I know a few people that are on triple captaincy chip that they haven't played and they're sort of thinking about it as well. But I think also again, they're in a really good position. Is it worth taking the risk by going triple captaincy on Palmer, for example, or Son, for example, when Haaland is going to be highly owned and likely to get a couple of goals? And so, it's a tough one. I think it just depends what you're playing for.
Yep. But for the triple captaincy, I think I would still go with Haaland, right? Because, I mean, for triple captaincy, if it is 300% EO, then, but we don't expect that, right? His EO is going to be probably 180 or 190, something like that. So still you're going to gain, right? If you have triple captaincy on Haaland. But just for regular captaincy, I think if you're chasing, I think Palmer, Son, Isak, all are good shout.
Yeah, agree. So that's pretty much it. I think sort of any last sort of thoughts, for the game week that come to mind for you, Gollum?
So I should say I'm not very excited about this bench boost. I think
no, me too.
So this will be probably one of my this will be the worst bench boost actually, because I had very good luck in terms of bench boosting last a couple of seasons. So going with 3 single game weeker defender in a bench boost week is not fun, but it is what it is. So but again, we just hope that at least we don't fall behind and at least just go to the 50k if possible. Otherwise, it's okay. So.
No, I agree.
May your arrows be green. So that's the hope. So.
Yeah, exactly, and I agree. I think I'm happy to have at least 2 to 3 players that are on my bench boost at the moment. So I've got Saka, Gabriel, and Reguilon, where I feel like they could get something. And the match that so Arsenal versus United is a good fixture nonetheless for Arsenal. So. And Arsenal have been very good away as well, and United's form is awful at the moment. I hate to say so, or I love to say, who as a Liverpool supporter. Look, I think I'm not too excited about it either, if I'm honest. I feel like this is the game week to play it as well. Like I can't sort of not. I think if a note to my future selves. I'm not sure if I'll be watching these, but it is very much a video diary for me. So a note to my future self is perhaps play my bench boost a lot earlier next season, not leave it this late.
just to remove it. Yeah, I mean a lot of people actually do that. Because just for that's why actually I played wildcard very late. Otherwise you have to carry this bench for a long time and then have doublers. So but this may shift actually in the next season because of this. All of the rules change for the FA Cup. I think if there is less doubles, we might see some shift in the next season. So we'll see. So.
Absolutely. All right. Well, brilliant. Look, thank you so much, Gollum. I really, really appreciate you taking the time to join me on my off-the-cuff streams. Thank for making it today.
For having me on.
Yeah. No, thank you. And would you like to plug anything?
First of all, I would like to plug for you. Definitely, please follow and subscribe of the cup. It's a pretty good show. I've been actually a follower from the beginning, I would say, and you had very good guests, and I know actually all of them, whoever came in your show. So great show. Keep going on. You're rocking, to be honest. So yeah, just
Thank
follow and
you.
subscribe the viewers. Just make it 500. It's not much to ask for, to be honest. And then for Radar FPL, if you'd like to see more content from us, if you'd like to see visuals, as we talked before, we also used to do podcasts, but for the like all the time, constant, we are not getting able to continue. But at least we release contents regularly from our Twitter. We are very much close to get 7,000 followers. So if you can follow, that would be great. If you don't follow, it's okay. Just support us. We really appreciate all of your support. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Gollum. I really do appreciate that. And great to have you on again. Really good conversation around Double Game Week 37 and the bench boost that you and I are both not that excited about, but having to play. Really good chat around defenders, especially because I think like there's a lot of managers who are on the market for defenders as well. So thank you to everyone that made it to the stream and this far along as well. These are very long streams as well, and very sort of, off the cuff conversations. So it can sometimes be just a good chat, relaxed conversation, and a bit rambly sometimes as well. But today's one was, especially special because it was great to have you, Gollum, on the show. So thank you once again. Good luck to everyone with game week 37 and the doubles. And, if you're on bench boost, good luck with your bench boost as well. Hope you get green arrows. And yeah, take it easy. I probably will be doing maybe a stream while I'm traveling, or maybe a video while I'm traveling. I'm not too sure. I need to kind of work out what the Wi-Fi is going to be like when I'm traveling. But good luck, everyone, and hopefully catch you sometime next week on the review of my my game week 37. We'll see how it goes. But please do like and subscribe. Thanks again. Take care and good luck. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.